Hey, it's Sid, and I've got a little story for you today. I want to tell you about something that happened in the year 5 BC. So 5 BC means 5 years before children. So when my wife and I first got together back in Nashville, Tennessee, we decided that we were going to go to Europe for a year. Now, here was the literal plan. We said, we're going to Europe for a year. We'll work our way around. We'll camp to save money. It'll be great. We had exactly zero plan. All we knew is that we were going to land in Frankfurt, Germany, and we're going to camp because we didn't have any money. We actually took $300 with us. $300. And please don't say, well, Sid, that was a lot of money back then, because it wasn't, okay? A hotel was still $90 a night, which is what we spent the first night we were there. But here's what happened. So we landed in Germany, and it was too cold to camp, so we started going south as fast as we could. We're hitchhiking, riding the train. We ended up in the Mediterranean, which was pretty romantic and cool, but we were in Greece, and we were literally illegal aliens in Greece, and we were trying to work. So although we did manage to spend a year in Europe, the reality of it was that most of the time we were there, we were homeless in a foreign country. And this was pre-cell phone, pre-internet, so we didn't have any contact with family or anything like that. And I want to tell you about one specific thing that happened. We ended up, we took a job on the island of Crete. We were in Athens. We found a job, or made a connection. So we had a job lined up working at some tourist bar on the island of Crete, in this little resort area. So we get down there, and by day 3, we knew absolutely that there was no way we could work in the conditions that were set up for us to work. It was because of a lack of integrity on the part of the bar owners. On day 2, the bar owner came and told us, said, today I want to show you how we cheat the people, and proceeded to show us how they would take brand name liquor bottles and pour garbage liquor into them and sell that to the tourists, and for top dollar. And my wife was amazing. I looked at it from a financial standpoint. I said, Denise, we have no money. We have to work this job. And she looked at me and said, Sid, I'm not going to sell out. I'm not going to do something. I'm not going to lie and cheat people. I don't care if we have no money or not. So we ended up finding a little place to pitch our tent and camp out. We camped in a 2-person pup tent on the edge of the Aegean Sea for 6 weeks. And it was rocky, and it was hard, and it was tough. And during that time, literally, we had one morning, this happened, we had no food. And we had the equivalent of US 10 cents to our name. And it wasn't for lack of effort. I mean, every day we'd go through the town, and I would go and stop at every restaurant, and say, do you have work? Do you have work? I was willing to do any type of work. I have a farm boy background, so I'm not afraid to work. So anyway, we have no food, we have no money, and we have no prospects. And we're 8,000 miles away from anybody that knows us or cares about us. That's a tough spot. But at about 7:30 a.m., and it was already, sun was up, it was hot, we'd already opened up the tent and stepped out. We hear footsteps of someone approaching, and we turned and looked, and there's a little girl, and like 8-year-old Greek girl, and she has a small pail, and it's filled with vegetables. And with broken English and our limited understanding of Greek, we were able to understand. She said, my grandfather has a garden, and he said, please bring this food to our guests. And for us, it was like manna from heaven. I mean, literally God delivered, or a little girl delivered food to us when we had nothing. We were looking at, what are we going to do? We're not going to eat this day. We may not eat this week. So here's what the point I want to make is that even at a very desperate time, somehow things still work out. All right. So there was a 3rd century philosopher from Rome called Seneca. You may be familiar with Seneca. He was the father of Stoicism. And I'll paraphrase this because I certainly don't know the quote, but he said that every year you should dress in the basest of clothes and eat only the meanest of food, the very basic food, like eat your beans and rice, and stay outside and sleep in the street for a week. And at the end of that week, ask yourself, is this the thing I was so afraid of? Because honestly, the thing that holds you and I back as a business person more than anything else is simply a level of fear. But when you approach that fear, when you face it, you'll recognize pretty rapidly that there wasn't really anything to be afraid of. So my wife and I were homeless in this foreign country. And we were stranded on an island. We were closer to Libya than we were to Western Europe. And it was a little freaky, but guess what? we survived it and it worked out. And that is putting me in a position now when like something scary comes up, like, have you ever been afraid to pick up the phone and make a call to set up an appointment with a potential client? And you're like, oh my God, I can't make that call. This phone must weigh 100 pounds. But recognizing what happened back then where we were homeless and we didn't have food. And I go, that's what I was afraid of? It's no big deal. It makes it easy to make that call. So I believe that every entrepreneur, every business person absolutely must have a fountain of fearlessness that they can drink from. And I believe that you, as well as I, have an experience or a story somewhere in the background where you've already walked through the fire to get where you want to go. And you realize that, oh, I walked on those hot coals and I didn't die. So I just want to ask you the question. What's your fountain of fearlessness? What's your story that gives you the strength to take on the challenge that you know is coming? That's it.